Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into Fantasy Football University FFU, coming at you yet again in the offseason. Our final ranking show, our early ranking show. I'm Mr. Dulcich. I'm here with Mr. Tom Lang. Mr. Lang, how you doing, sir?
I'm ready for some tight ends, and I'm ready to just rank them out.
um, I actually think this is going to be really, really fun doing this. And one of the things I did was I actually listing out all 32 starting quote unquote tight ends for the NFL. You get into a bunch of names where it's like, what, how is this even a thing? But what do we say every year? It's the same thing like the quarterbacks. There's going to be something like 40 to 50 tight ends with a top 12 finish going
Yep.
forward. So, which in essence means you can stream the position if needed, but we'll get into the guys that is an exception.
Yeah, I mean, in all reality, though, too, and we'll get obviously deep into the conversation shortly, but there's a lot of guys that are not even being thought about that are week in, week out starters, and you could get them late in drafts. So
Exactly. Yeah, we'll get to them. Bunch of interesting news from this past week. Some injury related, some contract talks, whatever. Let's start with what I found out today, what we heard today. So Vita Vea has requested a trade from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
mm,
I'm not certain if they're actually going to go through with it, but he's been a very good player. Presumably he's still in his prime, and he's been a good member of that Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. It's not like the Bucs D has been that good, but he's been the best player on it. So I'm guessing if he leaves, it's just going to make the defense significantly worse, which makes us feel happier about the Bucs
it's
offense, I guess.
it's definitely not the Cincinnati Bengals situation, but it's almost there. I mean, they may be letting up about 28 points a game at that point, so that means that that offense is going to have to roll. So
All fires blazing. Yeah, Vita Vea has requested a trade to go to the LA Rams. That's where he's.
yeah, yeah, okay.
How many players did they need? I can't see how the Rams. Who did you like? We talked about this. Other than the Lions, who do you see as being like real competition for the Rams in the NFC this year?
Um, I don't know. I can't say the Giants, but I don't know.
I guess suppose the easy answer is like the Eagles or something, but I just think it's a collision course between the Lions and the Rams ending up in
Yeah, I
the
mean the
NFC
Eagles.
Championship.
Speaking of the Eagles, that they basically signed that 4-year extension with their big guy back there, Mr. Jordan. So,
Yeah, hey, listen. Yeah, good
Sorry,
for that
Jalen
guy.
Carter. Jalen Carter.
Jalen Carter.
Yep.
Wanted to mention too, there was another thing, and it kind of happened at the beginning of last week before we did the show. So Mendoza signs his rookie contract, and he was one of the last people to do so. And like I wanted to ask you, is this becoming more and more of a norm where now there's a negotiation on your rookie contract? If you
It's
remember,
seeming like there's a negotiation, but isn't it part of the Players Association that there's like they can't really negotiate? Maybe there's certain stipulations. Maybe just because I feel like maybe the reason why he's trying to negotiate is because in some of those contracts there are like performance based elements as well too. And if he's not going to play, which it sounds like he probably will not play at least 25, if not less, percent of the year, then it's a learning experience. I mean, he's making a couple $1 million to sit back and watch Kirk Cousins, do his thing.
right, and there's worse things in life. I mean,
Yes.
like, he'll be fine. What was it? Was it last year that it was something like every second round draft pick like did not want to sign their tender because second round draft picks almost everything is based upon like almost nothing is guaranteed, and they were all annoyed at that in some way. Was that last year that was?
I think that
So
was last year or the year prior.
yeah, like whatever it was, like there's not much room for draft picks to be negotiating. So I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe that was like a weird exception
I mean,
thing.
but anything, I mean, it just if you're a second round, if you're a second round draft pick, I mean, you were not an, I mean, depending on the position and stuff like that. But in all reality, if you were a top 32 player, you would have been taking the top 32 where there would be more guaranteed money and things like that. Or you're a day two player that's getting drafted. Not saying that's a bad thing. I mean, you got drafted into the NFL and we've seen, seventh round players basically be starting quarterbacks and other elements for years to come in the NFL. So, just because you got there doesn't mean that you are now guaranteed to earn your money. Like you still have to play to earn that bag. With anything, you go out of college, you spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to college. Now you're in debt. Now you're going to, now you're going to basically work 9 to 5, and now you're paying that back for the next 25 years. It's just, I mean, it's just a cycle. It's called a cycle. These guys
What
are making millions though.
what an analogy.
Yeah.
Um, I've got a bunch of stuff about the pup, but any other contract news hit your new desk there?
Denzel Ward just signed his 2 year, basically a 2 year extension with the Browns. So the cornerback there, he's a vocal point of that defense there. Um, and Not contract, but Micah Parsons is officially on the pup list, and he's basically expected to return around week 6.
Yeah, let's talk about the pup real quick because there's a lot of players that we could talk about right now. So
Tank
let
Dell is cleared for
yes.
training camp.
That should help Stroud marginally. Let's hope so.
Yeah.
So the issue with the pup, I just want to define two things, and I hope I'm getting the words right. So during training camp, if you're on the active pup, it means that you have to miss a portion of training camp. But if you remain on the pup and end up in the reserve pup, that's when you actually miss games during the regular season. So, for example, Micah Parsons has been already added to the pup. That doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to miss the beginning of the season. I mean, all signs are pointed to that, but it's not there yet. You have to pay attention if he actually makes it to the reserve pup. So pay attention into training camp. And I want to bring that up because you and I have these rules about players where like even if like they manage to avoid the pup and people don't get any training camp in, I don't want that player on my team from a fantasy
No.
perspective. Like there's no guarantee that there's not issues and
No,
setbacks
or
or
it's
whatever.
either I don't want him on my team, or I'm just gonna I'm gonna wait late round for take a shot on him. But it's more than likely somebody else is gonna take him at their ADP.
Some other notable names that applies to. So we said Micah Parsons, which by the way, if Micah Parsons is not going to be playing, I feel real good about Kyler Murray for week one of the like as a streaming option, whatever, even
Yep.
maybe for the season. We talked about him in the last ranking show, but here's some other names. So we got the George Kittle things, which we'll talk about him more today. He's another one on with that situation. First of all, half the 49ers are on there already. So I
Yeah.
have no idea why that keeps happening. So we'll talk more about that. And so the issue with Patrick Mahomes, we talked about it a little bit in the last episode, but Patrick Mahomes is being severely limited, but it's looking that Patrick Mahomes is going to be starting week one. That's what's trending to, which is going to blow your mind, I guess.
It's gonna blow my mind.
Yeah. So we'll pay attention to that as it goes through. And again, we'll harp on the thing that as a rule for the Fantasy Football University podcast here, if a player gets no practice in, unless he's a bona fide stud already, if he gets no practice in during training camp, we're not buying the injury dip wherever he goes. So that's our rule. Any other quick ones on your radar?
Actually, this is one that I really like because we were talking about this guy last week a lot, Baker Mayfield. He is not expected to sign any type of new deal. He wants to play this year, earn
Oh,
his
I love
keep,
this.
and that means he's going to wreck it this year. He's going to destroy fantasy. He's probably going to finish the number one quarterback this year.
He just might. I'm telling you right now, like he's our guy. Like
Yep.
this is he's gonna be our mascot for this season. He's
Yep. Just
oh,
so you know, everybody that that's listening to this right now in our fantasy leagues, whatever it is, we are going for Baker Mayfield. We probably will be drafting him a round or two earlier. So you're gonna have to grab him from us. So it just is what it is.
I'm excited. I'm excited about Baker this year. I'm not excited about his tight end. We'll get into that today. Want to jump into tight ends here?
Yeah, let's do it. A lot of
Let's jump.
surprising information here though too. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, this is going to be a good episode. This is going to be it's actually a really fun episode. So let's get the top tier guys out the way. We know who they are. It's Brock Bowers and Trey McBride,
In
and
that order.
and I've so come around to where Tommy's at, that I do believe Brock Bowers deserves that nod over Trey McBride. I'm not going to fault anybody if they got their eyes locked on McBride, but I'm with Tommy. I think Bowers is
Yeah.
number one.
Yeah,
By
I
the
mean,
way,
you're not doing anything wrong by taking Trey McBride, but honestly, this year ADP wise, you could definitely take, and get Brock Bowers at a little bit of a better position. He's going to finish off at the top guy, barring any injuries.
By the way, I was actually closer between Brock and McBride until I checked out today. We got an interesting bit of news out of Arizona today. Arizona's offensive coordinator is Nathaniel Hackett, who used to be the Jets offensive coordinator. So yeah, goodbye, goodbye. It's a Trey
Nah,
McBride never knew.
he's still
He's still
talent.
he's still good, but yes, I 100% believe Bowers there. So before we move on, real quick, um, I was on record with Josh Allen saying I wouldn't go higher than the fourth. Be really lucky if he falls there, but that's the highest. I stand by that with Bowers and McBride. The fourth round is the highest that I'm willing to go for either one of them. Now I know you slightly disagree, depending on
No,
you know.
I firmly agree with that.
Oh,
Fourth
you
round
agree with
is,
that?
yeah, I firmly agree this year. And I think it's because of where we, took Brock Bowers last year. You don't he fell to us in the third round in our
Bell.
high big money league. And it was a great pick at that time, but the injury bug just really hit us hard. I mean, we were able to overcome that, but for the value of the third round is really tough. It's a big pill to bite, chew there, and I'd probably say fourth round is a little bit more comfortable, but they're not going to make it there.
I gotcha. Also, the fourth round is interesting because presumably you got at least one stud running back, one or two stud
Yeah.
running backs, and one or two stud wide receivers.
But honestly,
So,
and I'll be real with you, like, we'll talk more about these guys that are coming up.
uh-huh.
Not in the next tier. I think further down are actually going to be a little bit more sustainable. Not to the level of what Brock and McBride are going to do, but
Right.
it's going to give you that level of consistency on your roster, which also gives you balance at the tight end and the onesie position
So,
players.
that's the top tier. And let me tell you the name of the next tier, and that'll tell you guys everything you need to know about what's going on with tight ends. The name of the next tier for me is other tight ends worth more than a punt. And then because the next
Uh,
tier after that is the punted options.
I don't
So
think so. I don't think so. I mean,
really,
yeah, I have three players in my next tier, and then I got four players in the tier after that, and then the punts happen.
oh, I wonder if we end up in like the same. Okay, so the who are the three names in your next tier? Because I
So I
definitely,
got I got Tyler Warren, Colson Loveland, and Tucker Kraft.
okay, I feel like we should save a Tucker Kraft conversation. I do have Tyler Warren there. I do have Loveland. And who are the guys in your tier after that before the punt?
Jake Ferguson, Sam Laporta, Kyle Pitts, and Dallas Goedert.
I have Laporta and Pitts in the other tight ends worth more than a punt. All right, so let's talk about Kraft here. Are you not worried at all about the injury thing?
No,
It was a bad injury.
I know it was a bad injury. He had a bad injury, or a semi-bad injury the year before that. He just he gets this injury situation, but the thing about it is you can't go into well, actually he didn't have an injury 2024, 2023. Sorry, I lied there.
You're
But
thinking
anyway,
of the guy he took over for. It was Musgrave.
correct. Yeah. But anyway, like in all reality, when this guy is on the field, he is the number one wide receiver on that team. And now that, Romeo Dobbs is not there anymore, and, obviously they pay Watson, and, they have injuries throughout that entire, pass catching offensive, players that are out there. So I think personally, when he's out there, he's not going to donut for you. He's going to he's going to get you consistent targets. Um, I think you're looking at back at the 2024 season. He did finish at number 9, which we'll call it tight end that year. But you just know what he put up. I mean, there was games that he was putting up, double digit points and consistently throughout, week in, week out. And I just feel like you can't fade on that. He's very talented. He has a really nice chemistry with Jordan Love out there. I think for me, he's at the lower end of this tier. But you just can't go wrong with taking him. Yes, is he an injury risk? 100%. But I do believe that there is good possibility that he's gonna bounce back and rebound. And also, I think he's going into a contract year. So
Well, let's list the good things. So to your point, yeah, he does have a good rapport with Jordan Love, and leading into before he had his injury last year, he was one of the top options at tight end. His points per game was just basically just below. He was number three, below Bowers and McBride. And he had a really good he had a good set of games, and then he got injured. Also to his benefit, the Romeo Dobbs and Dontavian Wicks have been traded.
mhm.
So two decent enough options at wide receiver. So he's going to be necessary to the offense. So, and like you said, the Green Bay defense is not going to be as good as it was last year. All these are good things. The negative thing is basically just what everybody would be thinking. It's he tore his ACL. I forget what week it was, week 7 or 8 last year. And this is not a quarterback. This isn't a Patrick Mahomes situation. This isn't a quarterback. This is a guy who absolutely needs to be functioning at a high level for it to be
It's week
worth it.
9.
Yeah, week 9. I mean, that's a pretty quick turnaround for him to be good to go,
Yeah.
be
So
like,
did Patrick Mahomes.
but Patrick Mahomes doesn't have to sprint around every play. He doesn't have to block people. He doesn't have to,
I mean,
push off 300 pound men.
the guy has to elude 300 and 400 pound guys that are coming after him, right? Full speed. So
I think we
just
can,
saying,
I think we can agree it's not the same thing. I think we could say.
it's fairly close.
Um, I don't. My personal opinion is that risk. First of all, it's costing you nothing to get him. He's going real late anyway. But the personal risk to get him, I think you could just punt, and then if you want to take the shot after, I have no idea how you would take any of the like. I'd rather have Warren, Loveland, Fannin, Laporta, and Pitts over him, like without question. You know what I mean? Like to me, it's just you could punt and try it if you really feel that way.
Mm.
Um, one of the other names that you had in there in tight ends worth more than a punt, you had Ferguson there too. So,
Well, we got to
for
talk about Warren and Loveland, though.
oh, we could yeah, let's spend some lip service. So we both
You
agree
can't
on
just let them go and just be like, yeah, they deserve to be here.
well, Warren and Loveland. Why not, I'll let you sing the praises of Warren because I know you like him better. But Loveland, so DJ Moore has been traded, and Loveland was already building a rapport and was getting better and better towards the end of last year to being a bona fide, full fledged, fantasy starter. And we know Ben Johnson loves his tight ends, highly drafted guy. Like, what's not to like? There's literally everything that you want trending towards last year, better options, better pizza Papa John's. So, I mean, it's everything that you could possibly want from it. Loveland belongs there. I know Tommy likes Tyler Warren more.
Yeah, I mean, Tyler Warren is he's basically a PPR monster when it comes down to a tight end format, right? So like, especially if you're, in a you're going to get an additional what you call 0.5 points per tight end uh receptions. I mean, he's just going to get it. He, when Daniel Jones was in there, he was getting consistent targets. Even, it did take a little bit of time for him to get those consistent targets again, when Daniel Jones was out. But, you know, he, you know, he was getting anywhere from 6 to 9 targets when Daniel Jones was out. So he was getting the targets. It wasn't the same volume of yards that you were getting and touchdowns you were getting, but the biggest thing is he is a vocal point of that offense. With no Michael Pittman anymore over there, he is the big-bodied, wide receiver slash blocker that's going to be out there. They do have a good amount of tight ends that are still on the team that basically are within that system range. So they're probably going to line him out at a wide out position at times. So he's going to fall in line at that as that wide receiver. That's going to be that big body guy that needs to get that extra couple of yards and whatnot. So he's definitely somebody that I'm going to target. With no, with Daniel Jones coming back from the Achilles, that is a little difficult to think about. And he is technically on target for week 1. We know what happens with Achilles injuries. He is a couple of years younger than Aaron Rodgers and also Kirk Cousins, who came back from an Achilles injury. And Daniel Jones gets injured all the time. So this is just the name of his game. He comes back from injuries. I don't anticipate him to run a crazy amount of yards this year. He might utilize his legs a little bit, but that's going to be beneficial for Tyler Warren to get those 4 or 5 yards down the field, and that's a reception. So I'll take that all day long.
Yeah, there's no disagreement here. So the other names that we had above punt, we both had Fannin. I'm a bit higher than Fannin than Tommy is.
I
Fannin
didn't have
is
Fan in there.
you had him. You still had him above the punt. You had it in the next the.
No,
Oh, you
I
didn't
had
even
him in
have him
punt.
there.
No, I didn't have him
Oh,
there.
we'll have a disagreement then. We're gonna make it.
Yeah,
We'll make a
my
thing.
next before the punt was, I mean, there's some guys in the punt as well too that I'd be like, I'm gonna say these guys, I'm gonna take my shot, and these guys could actually be my lock-in week,
Well,
every week starter,
well,
and we'll
that's
talk about those guys. But I got in my next tier before the punt, personally before the punt is Jake Ferguson, Sam Laporta, Kyle Pitts, and Dallas Goedert. So there's 9 guys that I could say these guys are week in, week out starters for me. Do I want to wait for one of these guys? Do I want to hold for one of these guys? Do I want to take one of these guys early? It just depends on what's happening in my draft.
well, that's the point. And let's actually define this because otherwise we're gonna be all over the place here with the names that we're gonna bring up. So let's define what punt means. Okay. To me, punt means that um I will be starting to draft backup positions at running back or wide receiver before I like fill my tight end position, or I
Hmm.
just get a throwaway tight end at the end of the draft. Not punting tight end means I'm actively drafting a tight end before I have filled out the rest of my team. To
Correct.
me, that's what that means. And it's important to say that because there's some guys there that I don't believe you actually think are punted guys. So for example, you brought up um you brought up Goedert. You'd be willing to draft Goedert before you'd fill out the rest of your roster. I mean, to me, I don't think you get a positional you would need a positional advantage
Well,
at that
yeah.
position
Well,
for that to be worth it.
let me explain this. So if I'm looking, yeah, well, I hear what you're saying, but in all reality, if we're looking at it as a draft format, there's going to be, you're in a traditional 12-team league. There's 9 guys out there. So 9 of those guys that I believe right there should be falling basically before I start drafting, drafting a tight end, right? So in all reality, I don't believe that these guys are going to be there. I believe that ranking wise, this is what I would actually position to where I think they're going to finish and where they're going to be consistent throughout the year. Now, if they fall to me after I fill those roster spots that I want, then yeah, I'm going to take them. That's a win. But I don't believe personally, based on how I draft, that Jake Ferguson, Sam Laporta, Kyle Pitts, Goddard, or the guys above that are going to fall within my roster unless they're there in the 10th, 11th round.
Well, okay, they're there in the tenth and the 11th round. Then by definition, that's after a punt because you filled every other position on your roster. So
Correct.
that's not. So you have to ask yourself, would you be willing to take them before that?
No,
So for example, I don't have the ADP in front of me, but let's say Tyler Warren's ADP is the fifth. I don't know if it is, but let's just say it's the fifth. Would you be willing to take Tyler Warren? Let's say he even falls. Would you be willing to take him in the sixth?
no.
Tyler, what? Okay, so you're not even willing to make that as a thing. Now, I would
No,
agree
it's
that
because I know that personally there are some values later on the draft that I can
fine,
play with. Like, and that's what I'm saying is I I believe these players that I just put
right?
down for the viewers, not just for my specific strategy,
Sure.
for the viewers that are watching this. This is my breakdown of where I think these players will fall in line tier wise. Outside of that, in my strategy for drafting, that does not mean that I need to take one of these guys in the 10th or 11th round.
Well,
I
then
want to
that
fill my roster
right.
specifically.
Well, then to your point, then I think we
And if
could,
everybody else does the same exact thing as they're listening to my monologue right here,
which won't happen.
one of those players will fall to me in the 10th, 11th round.
Well, to your point, then I guess what we're saying is, other than Bowers and McBride, basically we're advocating not to draft anybody. Now, that's not exactly what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying for you to say. So, like you're saying Warren,
I'm
like in
saying,
the
based
seventh,
on my specific strategy on how I draft, I am not drafting one of those guys.
I think
But I
that
tier them in a sense where it's acceptable to draft them in specific rounds for that reason.
So you'd not, so you personally, you wouldn't be willing to take a tight end other than Bowers or McBride before filling the rest of your roster.
Correct. I mean,
N-
I'm not going to laugh at somebody that takes Colson Loveland in the fifth round because that's a great talent and that he's probably going to be going, in that round anyway. Tucker Kraft should probably be going in the sixth, seventh round.
I'm
Jake
not gonna
Ferguson,
laugh at anything for doing it, but if Loveland fell to like the seventh or eighth, like okay, I would do it there. I would.
I don't know. I mean, it just depends on what's there. I mean, if he's but here's the thing: if he's falling there, then then
That's,
then some of those value positions, when it comes down to running backs and wide receivers, are pretty much being taken. So at that point, it just depends on how the draft is basically falling. I mean, we could talk draft strategy right now and see and like say hypotheticals. Well, what happens if this guy falls? Well, he's not going to fall. Coastal level will not fall to the seventh round in every single draft.
All right. Well, then for this reason, I feel like for the sake of when we make this tier list so that everybody could see this. By the way, everybody, the tier list as it stands will be posted in the description of this video's episode on YouTube. So thank you very much for being with us. So just the way that we're gonna have to put this into a tier list, it's not gonna make sense. We're gonna have like so many players in the next tier of things. We agree on Warren, we agree on Loveland. And then like in your next like it doesn't matter at that point if you see them all the same, great, you can rank them within whatever tier, but you see them all as the screw it, I'll get them later. That's the point. You see them all like that. So you
No,
see
that's
them all the same.
yeah, I see them all the same, but they're higher valued, right? So like meaning like I'm not going to reach and take them in a spot where I know I could get better value or more backup value for a player. Talking about tight ends, we're not talking about draft strategy as I just
No,
explained.
I understand.
I'm talking about tiered players based on where I specifically see them in the category. Outside of Dallas Goedert, because what's his name's not there, Brown's not there anymore. That's volume that he's going to continue to see in the red zone. After that, Fannin likely Andrews, Okonkwo, Johnson, like those guys, those are valued plays that you could get deep, deep, deep that you potentially could get a little bit less points when it comes down to the tier guys and the third tier that I discussed with Ferguson, Laporta, Pitts, and Goddard. Those guys are going to have those games where they're going to have top five finishes. And we'll talk more about them in a few minutes
Well, right,
as
but
after we stop talking about draft strategy.
well, that's sort of the point is when we create a tier list, our tier list is supposed to be agnostic as to whatever the current ADP is. It's supposed to just be this is how we
Correct,
see
but
guys that
correct,
are
but we're not
finishing.
making a tier list of all players in one, right? So like we're talking about
Right.
tight ends, we're talking about wide receivers, we're
Well,
talking about running backs. If we were talking about all the players in one, I'll tell you something right now. Brock Bowers, Trey McBride, they'd be in the fourth, fifth tier for me at that point, meaning like I'm targeting them, in the fourth, fifth round,
no,
but
no,
they're not going to be there.
no, we understand what that means. So maybe here's a better way of asking it. Other than Bowers and McBride, what other names are you comfortable as you're sitting right now as being your tight end where you don't have to stream tight end for at least where you're sitting right now, that you could have him locked in at tight end for the rest of the season? What other names? Warren and Loveland, we agree.
Yeah, I just clarified that. I said Tyler Warren,
Mhm.
Colson Loveland, Tucker Kraft, Jake Ferguson, Sam Laporta, Kyle Pitts, and Dallas Goddard.
Okay.
Those nine players. I said
Okay.
that like six times.
Okay. I heard you. I'm only re-bringing it up because I find it amazing that you would be okay leaving Kraft in, just like that. That's your guy. You have no idea what we're going to be getting out of him. That's such a risk, man.
Well, again, like I said earlier, he was only injured for one season. He started pick up at the tail end of his sophomore season, and he got injured in his third year, and here we go, coming back.
This is going to be such an effort, me
No Romeo Dobbs.
putting this in the tier list. All right, let's just give some lip service to some of the other names that at least we're both feeling good about. So yeah, Laporta and Pitts. So Laporta. you know, here's the deal. Jameson Williams took off last year when Laporta went down, and this is a guy who was good. I mean, it's just like obviously he had his rookie season where he just dominated everybody, but he's absolutely very good. He was a big part of the offense before he went down. This is going to be the next year on the Lions offense with a brand new offensive coordinator, but it's still obviously it's Dan Campbell. But here's something to remember. The Lions have one of the easiest schedule. I was just looking at that. We'll get into that in a couple weeks, by the way, and qualitative metrics. The Lions have one of the easiest schedules going forward next year, and the Lions are out for blood. They love, putting up 70 points if they can. They would do it every week if they could. So I'm feeling good about Laporta, talented guy. They're going to need him. And Kyle Pitts, uh, so we're not going to expect him to put up 50 points every week. It's not going to
Mm.
happen. It's going to be inconsistent. We're accepting that a priori. It's going to be inconsistent. But other than Drake London, who's going to catch the ball for anybody in Atlanta? That's it. It's just him.
I mean, they grabbed that rookie, but who knows? Who knows what's going to happen there?
Right. And Pitts is, he got paid, which we don't like, right?
To an extent, he likes it, but we
I know
don't.
he I know he likes it, but we got to remember he feels like he's been in the league for like 9 years. He's like 25 years old or something. So, I mean, there's room for improvement there. And, you know, Tua and Penix love dumping the ball short. So
Yep.
all systems go for Kyle Pitts. So what was your we've talked about this too. You're a little bit anti-Fannin. I wanted to maybe revisit that. So you still feel that way?
To an extent, because I just don't know what if Deshaun Watson is going to be the starter week one. We don't know what kind of guy we're getting out of that. There's too much talent around in that wide receiver room that they bolstered up in basically the draft that Hal Fannin's going to receive less targets this year. There's no way that he's going to have that consistent ratio of targets. Yes, Njoku's not there, but you got Casey Conception and you also got Boston, being there, and then you got Judy. So there's just an ultra amount of talent out there for him to basically lose those reception opportunities.
I hear what you're saying. I guess
Nobody's getting hyper targeted unless they're a world beater.
I guess I'm sort of betting on the talent. I mean, he's super talented. He's very good. So
He
I mean,
is, but so is the rest of that offense.
no, that's fair. I don't see him as good as Warner Loveland in terms of the rookies from last year, but he's I just think the opportunity is there. But okay, maybe
I will
I'm
say, I mean, in all reality, for me, the reason why I'll take Jake Ferguson over Harold Fannin, which is for me a massive value, is because where Ferguson's ADP is happening. It's the same thing. It's same thing that happened last year. Ferguson came out as a world beater. Week one he was a tight end 24. Unfortunately, wasn't a world beater right there, but tight end four, tight end four, tight end five, tight end two, tight end 10, tight end four. So he had a consistent week, even with CD Lamb in there, even with yes.
I gotta challenge you because that's not the case. The games where CeeDee Lamb was
CD
there,
Lamb, CD Lamb, there was certain games where CD Lamb basically was in there and he still was producing. Same thing with George Pickens. Then when CD Lamb went out, there was obviously an uptick. That was where he had the 20.4 week when it comes down to his fantasy points. But outside of that, he still was receiving targets. The week against the Giants, he had 12 targets. Against the Chicago Bears, he had 14 targets. CD Lamb was in those games. So let me tell you something right now. He's going to receive targets. If it's a red light year, then we got a problem. But if it's a green light year with Dak, we're all systems go. They're gonna throw that ball.
well, that much I agree with, but I think the upside is severely capped when Lamb and Pickens are all there.
But if he's throwing the ball 40 to 50 times a game,
We don't know
it's
that
really
he's going
not
to do.
capped.
We don't know that he's going to do that. We don't know. They're going to try to. They're going to. I mean, you were obsessed with Javonte Williams from last year. I mean,
Hmm.
you're feeling pretty good about him this year,
Yeah, but
as am I.
Javonte Williams was stealing. He was stealing touchdowns inside the red zone. He
He was
wasn't running up and down the field.
he was doing a lot of that. I'm not saying I dislike Ferguson. I'm
What was getting
saying
him down the field was the yards through the air. Javonte Williams was scoring on the goal line.
So last year, now remember now, Lamb, it's not like Lamb missed the whole year. He missed a good chunk in the middle of the year, but
Hmm.
in the 14 games, our AI overlords on Google, in the 14 games they shared the field, Ferguson recorded 65 receptions for 478 and 4 touchdowns, which is not bad for a tight end, but across 14 games, if they're counting that they're saying that Lamb only missed the 3 games officially, but there was a bunch of games in there where Lamb was like halfway on the field. So I mean, um, I'm a little less bullish than you. We'll leave it there. We could disagree. I mean, it
That's
is what it is.
fine. That's fine.
I
I
I
mean,
would I
for a
would
guy that's, let me ask you, what do you think his snap percentage was the week that he had 9 targets, 7 receptions, 49 yards, and 2 touchdowns?
I have a feeling for you to bring that up. It probably wasn't good, and you'd be like, look what he did, and now let's extrapolate.
55% snap percentage.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Okay. The guy can be on the field 50% of the time and he will produce. So let's
Okay.
put it that way.
All right. So let's go. So that's
It is
that.
annoying watching the game, be like, where is he? He's inside the 20. Come on, what are we doing here?
I know.
But it's still gonna happen.
Put it this way, man. Like we've got Lamb ranked higher than consensus. We've got Pickens, or you had Pickens ranked higher than consensus. And now you're ranking Ferguson higher than consensus. At some point, you can't have all 3 players outdoing the projections,
Yeah.
unless you legit think that Prescott is about to go put up 4,545 touchdowns. I mean,
He's about to go nuclear.
I feel better about Baker. All right, let's talk about some of the later guys. And there's not going to be any, like, at this point, we could call it whatever we want to. Again, we're supposed to be agnostic in terms of ADP, but you can get any of these guys late. And so, in
And
this list,
and sorry, I'm just gonna cut you off real quick because I'm only gonna go over the guys that I'm very excited for me personally
yeah,
drafting.
okay,
As my, and as and I'm not trying to cut you off right now, but
sure, sure.
my strategy when it comes down to me sololy being an owner of owner of a team, I am not drafting a tight end inside the first through the ninth, 10th round. Just not happening.
Right, which is
If
fine.
correct. I sometimes wait to the last round to get my tight end. And some of these guys, you can wait to the last round to get your tight end, and I will explain why they're going to be beneficial. Billy,
A
go ahead.
hundred percent. So I wanted to give a little lip service to the Kittle Tonges situation. The tight end in San Francisco is valuable, whomever it might be, and either one of them are very good. So if Kittle starts the year on the pup, if he misses 6 games or whatever, you could grab Tonjes and he'll be great for you. So, and obviously George Kittle is George Kittle. Now I think George Kittle is not going to be the same Kittle as of old. I think that age and attrition and the injury situation has caught up with him. On top of the fact that you have an injury risk that he could just play for a couple games and then be out or whatever. So what's our nickname? George Brittle. I mean,
George Brittle.
still while he's in, he's valuable. If he's not, Tonjes is available. Is always good. So Tonjes is there. This is where I had Kraft. Tommy and I disagree. Travis Kelce's here too, whether we hate it or not. Travis Kelce is going to get targets, right? I mean, it is what it is. He's 1,000 years old, and it's gonna be not the best offense because there's nobody else, but maybe Bieniemy can figure it out in a way that Nagy couldn't, and I think he can. So at the very least, Kelce get targets, which is at the very least what you want. Doctor Strange, I have here. I'm sure we both like Doctor Strange.
Yep.
So
And he just got paid.
and he just got paid. It's Friday night, so there we go. Doctor Strange. I got a Rondé Gadsden here. I don't know if you do. No,
No.
you're. I know you're anti Gadsden, but that's
No,
fine.
I'm more anti-Gaston. What they just basically signed Njoku, so that's just nah,
Depth.
nah.
Okay, we
Staying
can.
away,
Okay,
staying away from both.
okay, that's fine. That's fine. I got Dalton Schultz here just on sheer volume. You can't again if you're not sure about upside, take the volume and that's what it'll give you. This is where I had Ferguson. That's fine. Mark Andrews is here, so likely left, and now you got Mark Andrews. What's the other receiving options in Baltimore? Just say Flowers, right? And now, I mean, what's to stop? And Andrews is not the same Andrews as what he was. Don't care. He's still going to get volume. He's still going
Yep.
to be the guy. This is where I had
And they
Goddard,
just paid him.
and they just paid him, which is an anti-argument. This is where I had Dallas Goddard and Hunter Henry. I have here too. Like I'm okay with Hunter Henry thrown in as my tight end slot. I mean, he gets it done every other week.
And you are covering a lot of guys that I'm not even going to cover. So this is great.
Okay. I wanted to, and I'll get to the guy to the more questionable. So Juwan Johnson, I have here too. So Juwan, and did you
Save
want to?
save him for me. Save him
Okay,
for me.
we'll let you do. And then I wanted to have just a conversation about. I have Dalton Kincaid here. Okay. So I have been
Bleh.
the biggest Dalton Kincaid fan slash apologist over the past couple
Dalton
years.
Cascade.
He was so highly drafted, so highly touted, like all of it. And he is super athletic. The kid cannot stay healthy. He just cannot stay healthy. And but when he is healthy and not fighting through something, he really is good on a team that absolutely needed a target like that. But clearly he just can't. And, Dawson Knox is in there. He's never on the field enough, Dalton Kincaid. So the opportunity for upside will always be there on a Josh Allen led team, but just recognize that, it just the risk factor is a little bit high. So if you want to take the shot, take the shot. That's why I have him where I have him. But we think that the Bills passing offense is going to be going through DJ Moore this year, personally.
Yep.
So I have that. So you wanted to talk about Juwan and some others there?
Well, yeah, there's a couple players. I mean, you didn't say Isaiah Likely, or we talked really quickly about him,
So
but
real quick, I don't want to cut you off. My next tier, I got three guys. I call them the full unknown upside shots. I got Sadiq, Likely, and Okonkwo. So do
I
we
think
want?
I think Likely is ahead of Sadiq 100
I
by light years.
I agree, but we don't know. Like we don't know. We don't
And so my
what we're
fear,
getting.
here's my thing. Right now, overall consensus, ranking wise through the interweb out there, Isaiah Likely is ranked number 14, tight end as of right now. For me personally, he is like, based on what I believe he can do, he's the tight end 11 for me. Um, which is still it's not a sit and just watch him play for watch him just ride the season as tight end on my roster. He is getting drafted in a position where you're talking about ninth, 10th, 11th round, around that time frame, and I'm just not sure if that's something I can actually pull the trigger on. He's ultra talented. We know what he could do. The problem that I have with Isaiah Likely is not the player, it's the other talent that's surrounding him. You got Theo Johnson that has a connection with Dart out there. We saw it last year. Now, the other backup tight end did have a couple different opportunities to make plays, and he's not the same talent level as Isaiah Likely. But in all reality, I mean, when Malik Neighbors comes back, and then you have a plethora of passing options, and then you have the running game, and then you have a quarterback that likes to run the ball, like how many targets is really going to go his way unless injuries happen, unless things pop up, it's just I just feel like it's just not likely for it to actually
Very
be
good.
a positive year for Isaiah Likely for where he's being drafted. Yes, he's going to have his weeks, but it's going to be a more overall team chemistry thing. I don't think he's going to get the hyper targets that you're anticipating for a player his caliber. I don't think it's going to be a bad thing for him personally as a football player. I just think it's going to, I would pump the brakes on him a little bit right now, and just I'd wait and see, because what's going to happen is people that draft him in the eighth, ninth round, he's going to find his way to the waivers within 2 weeks, and then you could just stash him if it just could pop off.
That's why I had him in the unknown upside. Likely, I had Sadiq there. It's like it could be a boat, it could be dirt. I mean, the same
Yeah.
thing you could say about Likely, and maybe you could grab him on the thing after. Sorry, I cut you off. I know you had.
No. So my favorite, my favorite pick of this year, and this is, and I'm throwing this out there, so everybody that's listening into interweb, whether it's TikTok or YouTube or Apple Podcast, wherever you find our podcast, um, Chigo Okonkwo is my go-to. I will punt the position and just let him play all season. This is a bold, bold, bold prediction for me. But this guy, you saw exactly what happened with Zach Ertz in 2024 when he was with before Debo was there in 2025 and the injuries happened in 2025. There is not the same talent on that offense that there was last year, paper wise, going based off paper, that there is going into last year was a lot more talent. Going into this year, there's not the same talent, paper wise. Okonkwo is a fantastic athlete. He's going to prove himself on the Washington Redskins, Commanders, whatever you want to call them these days, the Sentinels, Senators, the Washington
DC United.
Commanders, DC United. Okonkwo is going to get hyper targeted. We already know that Jaden Daniels basically he hyper targets his tight end as well too, and he looks for him in the red zone when needed. Chig is a big guy. And he's flashy and he's speeding. He's a good blocker as well too. He is going to have top 5 weeks, week in, week out. This guy is not being drafted. For me personally, he is my top 12 tight end, which probably throughout the season he's going to find his way up my rankings and blow it out of the water. He's not being drafted. He will not be drafted. He's somebody that you can get in the last round of the drafts, and he could be a starter week in, week out for you.
So let me pump now. That's why I have him in unknown upside because this could be really awesome. I mean, you have an aged Terry McLaurin as the lead receiver in Washington. They brought him in specifically. It's not like Ben Sinnott was killing anything.
Guess how old Okonkwo is?
He's like 25, right? He's young.
He's 26.
26. Yeah. Which is very, very good. But let's just pump the brakes on this for a little bit. First of all, who took over as tight end in Tennessee towards the end of last year? It was Gunnar Helm. So he was losing out to Gunnar Helm, who's, by the way, I got news for everybody. He's in the don't bother tier for us over here.
He was losing out to Gunnar Helm because he's in a team that basically was just shying. He wasn't there anymore. He mentally, physically, he wanted it out. That's proves
fair.
You're done.
That's fair. I think if you're picking super late anyway, 100% I agree with you. It's worth seeing. Hey, it might be a boat. It's worth seeing if you got a boat. Because it's going to cost you nothing and you could just, pivot if you're not liking what you're seeing. So I agree with you. I just would not count on it a priori being like, yep, this is going to turn into a superstar. Like just be prepared to pivot if you need to. So I agree. I agree.
2 more guys that I want to talk about. Juwan Johnson, we already know what he could do.
Yes.
He was hyper targeted last year. Yes, you're going to see a little bit of setback with targets this year because of what they drafted in Tyson. But I still think that he's going to see the red zone targets. Tyler Shuck basically is going to continue to look his way. They did get better at the running back position. Obviously, Kamara is aged and he's still going to be there, but you got Travis Etienne back there. It's going to be a good thing for him basically to receive anywhere from 5 to 7 targets averaging per game. And they're going to be valued targets for a player like that. So, what you potentially could be getting in, let's just say Kyle Pitts or Dallas Goedert, on a consistency level, you're potentially going to be able to get that at 20% less with Juwan Johnson at a better ADP. My last guy I want to talk about is TJ Hockensen.
Ugh,
he is
don't bother,
absolutely disgusting.
Ugh.
He is more disgusted than drafting Mark Andrews. But we all know a guy named Kyler Murray that pretty much made a guy named Trey McBride. Right?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay. Now, Trey McBride didn't score many touchdowns, but he did get many, many receptions in 2024 into 2025, that season. I believe that this will be the revive of TJ Hockensen. He will be seeing anywhere from 70 to 90 targets for the season, which is not crazy because you still got Justin Jefferson over there, but they will be value targets. TJ Hockensen is a good football player. we keep forgetting about that. Yes, the Lions basically traded away TJ Hockenson to an individual team of the Minnesota Vikings. But it was because they had Sam Laporta. They didn't need both those guys, so they got value back in return. TJ Hockenson was put into a really, really rough situation last year. He did come across some injuries the past couple of years. Coming into the season healthy, I think with the opportunities he has, especially with Addison being out there, Jefferson obviously being the world beater he is, the best wide receiver in the league, he's going to have an opportunity to grow and basically flourish in this offense with Kyler Murray being back there. With Kyler Murray basically scampering around, in his mini suit to just little dump over to TJ Hockenson, it's gonna be nice. So I think he's a valued those three, right? Chig, Juwan, and TJ, those are value plays that I believe that can be, yes, you're going to have to basically flex it here and there some weeks here, week in, week out, but they will have consistent weeks where they're putting up fantastic numbers, and you don't want to miss on those guys.
No, and as you've been talking, I'm like rearranging the tiers to kind of like to compromise between some of the guys that we had and our slight differences, whatever. So I Hawkinson, there is not a chance on this planet that I'm gonna like it's just not happening. I'm keeping him in the don't bother tier. Tommy Hawkinson for the last 2 years has been the top name on our drop him candidates list for tight end. Like it's just like why bother? You know we're gonna drop him. Like he's past the expiration date. It's not gonna happen. Just not gonna happen. So I'm not even allowing this. So some other names and don't bother. I'm just gonna come up with a name if you tell me you agree or if you say it's like worth 2 seconds. So Jatavion Sanders.
No,
Mike Gesicki,
no,
Gunnar Helm,
no,
Colby Parkinson,
no. Just too much. There's three tight ends over there
three
still.
tight ends. I agree. And I think he's the most talented, but I agree with that.
Yes.
AJ Barner.
Maybe. Maybe. That's like if I'm punting and I'm waiting for the last round and Chig is not there, then I'm going AJ Barner. Or I might be going this guy after you go through your list.
Okay. Pat Freiermuth.
No.
Okay. TJ Hockenson. It's on there. Evan Engram.
Even though he'll probably have one week where he finishes the top wide receiver, top tight end,
It'll be
one
one
week
week.
he'll give you more donuts than points.
Greg Dulcich.
That's the guy I want to talk about.
Oh God. Go ahead. Make the case.
There is no wide receiver on that team.
That's a fair
Greg
point.
Greg Dulcich is going to have so much opportunity. He is not at all a sexy name at all, but he was a New
You're
York
right.
Giant. He was a New York Giant at one point. And 26-year-old coming in as the starting tight end for the Miami Dolphins. Is going to is going to be interesting because you got the what's his name, the quarterback that's over there right now.
Malik Willis.
You got Malik to Malik, got Malik Willis, and you got the Malik Washington connection right there. You got nothing else basically over there that's actually a PPR opportunity. I mean, Greg Dulcich is going to have the opportunity to catch some balls. I mean, I anticipate him to basically be a target king over there. Now, is he going to do anything with it? Probably not. But a guy that's going to get anywhere from maybe 6 to 10 targets a game potentially, because they're going to be throwing the ball left and right, and maybe catching 50% of his balls. Who knows? Can do something.
I suppose, yeah. Maybe he deserves a better, a little bit more because, like he'll get volume. You just really don't know. I'm gonna put him in the unknown upside. I'll put him with likely and Sadiq because it's just like, okay, you have no idea what you're gonna get out of it, but you want to, fine. One other name, the last tight end was Kate Otton. Do you care?
No.
All right, so I've revised our tiers. They look like this. Top tier, Bowers and McBride. Second tier, Warren and Loveland. Third tier, Laporta, Pitts, and Fannin. Um, Remember now, I had to compromise on different guys for us because like so other guys I moved up and down. Uh, the later options with upside, I have the San Francisco guys, Kraft, Okonkwo, Strange, Gadsden, Ferguson, Andrews, Goddard, Juwan, Kincaid. Boring but acceptable, Henry, Schultz, and Kelce. Unknown upside, likely Sadiq, Dulcich, and then don't bother. I have my grandmother, my brother, Sanders, Gesiki, Freiermuth,
Hey, where's my
Hockensen.
Okonkwo?
Okonkwo, I moved up. I moved all the way up. I moved him up to ju just after
Move
the
them up to don't draft because Tommy's taking them.
no, no, no. I moved him up. I can understand that, and like you sold me a little bit on it. Your fervor on Okonkwo has got me a little bit excited about
Hey, I'm
Washington.
just I'm just being I'm being a realist here. You don't bring in a guy that basically, you already had a guy and you bring in a
Here's a guy.
talent that's connected, that's connected with the quarterback that's over there. It's just bound to be successful.
Yeah, and let me reiterate the stat that I kind of was alluding to earlier. Tight ends are even worse than quarterbacks when it comes to so like every year something like 40 quarterbacks finish the year with a top 12 finish. And how is that possible? Because obviously guys get injured and then backups go in or whatever,
Hmm.
which means that it's very easy to stream the position should you need to. That's essentially what it means. Tight ends are even crazier than that. Something it's always like 50 or something like or high 40s, 50s or whatever. Last year was no different. Might have been even into the 60s. I forget the exact stat on it, which means that the guys we're looking here, it's just our best guess at it. Like this is our like obviously we're projecting, we're looking towards the year, but there's definitely going to be a backup tight end who goes and catches two touchdowns, one thing, throws a monkey wrench into it. It is what it is, which is why for the most part you try to chase volume. And you guys can see, like Tommy and I, for the most part, when we're looking at this, we're really looking at guys who are staying on the field, who are getting volume, etc. It's one of the reasons why I said I might love Kincaid, but he's not on the field enough and he doesn't get enough volume and he gets injured too much. So I
Yeah.
mean, like you want more than that. And you know, Tommy, by the way, on the Okonkwo thing, like if it turns out that Ben Sinnott really does turn into something and just puts Okonkwo by the wayside, you're not afraid to pivot, right? Like it's just it doesn't cost you
No, but
much.
it's not happening.
I agree. It's probably not
It's not
not likely
likely.
not likely to happen. And I agree with you though. I think Isaiah Likely has every opportunity to become a big star like this year
He
too.
also had every opportunity to be a
I
big
know,
star.
but it just but remember now Harbaugh went and got him specifically
I know. I
and
know.
brought him
But
over.
again, there is that chemistry between Theo Johnson. I mean, it's still there. So, they're probably going to run a double tight end set with both of those guys out there because you just can't bench one of those guys and have them ride the bench. I mean, they're both ultra talented. Theo Johnson is not the same level as Isaiah Likely, but you know, the way that they play football, the way that system is, it's a perfect scenario for both those guys. You also could put Isaiah Likely out. You got Fields that they basically just drafted. Also, then you have Malik Neighbors potentially coming back week one. It's looking like that's what they're saying, that he's not going to go on the pup list and he's going to be ready for training camp. So I'm fairly, hopefully, looking good about that. So
All right, I wanted to ask just on the Okonkwo thing, just to make sure that we have him correctly placed. So you would rather have Okonkwo than Travis Kelce?
yes,
Okay, just for the upside. Okay,
yes,
okay, all right. So then we got him accurately placed in the updated tiers. So again, to everybody, I will post these tiers as we've agreed upon in the description of this video's episode on YouTube. So please check us out there. And just a reminder that before the season starts, we will be revisiting all of our tiers for all of the major position groups to finalize where we see stuff. And obviously, we need training camp. There's a lot of guys who we need to finalize guys on. And there's a bunch of teams where it's a lot of stuff in the air. Jacksonville comes to mind. So we'll get to that. Also, some other things to look forward to. We're going to get to quantitative and qualitative metrics. We got some more mock drafts coming at you guys. We got a lot of stuff, and then we got the season coming up. I'm very excited. I'm very, very
yeah, we're
excited.
very excited. Can't wait. Yeah, it's just going to be a whole lot of information that's going to be thrown at you guys week in, week out until we actually get this, get the ball rolling with the season. But We'll have maybe a mock draft or two before the season starts. We're ultra excited, and then obviously we have our live draft that we'll have to figure out when that's going to happen.
More news on that to come. More
Yeah,
news
more
on that.
news on that to come, but we will be doing a high profile league again this year
Yes,
that we're looking to successfully win it again live for you guys, which would be fun.
it would be very fun. So thank you very much for being with us, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Mr. Line, closing thoughts.
Yeah, if you could please like, share, and subscribe, we greatly appreciate it.
We appreciate it. Thank you very much,
Bye, Diana
everybody.
Rossini.